So Fusion is set up completely different. The nice thing about Fusion is any of the settings that we have here, we can measure it as we're going. So there's no need to constantly be measuring stuff because it's right there. It's pretty obvious what size things are. And then we can always go back to the very beginning, change a couple numbers, and everything will update. So let me open up one of my items first so you can see it. Where is it? Phone holder, that one. All right, so here is my phone holder for my Town and Country. So this one, it fits inside the vent, and this one I built little clips on it. Okay, and ideally, again, this one would be like this frame would print, and then these little clips would sit snugly on there. So the problem I was having is this would break off. And so if I could just print a couple of these and if it broke, I can just slide it back on. So that's what this one is set up as. Now, if you look at the very bottom, all of this stuff here is everything I've done to this surface. So think of like the Maya history. This is crazy in depth because let's say that I need a different size for this. I can double click this sketch and there's the layout. These are all the dimensions for that specific thing. And if I change one thing way back here, it'll go all the way through the entire design and rebuild the entire thing. So if I didn't want this to be 12, I wanted this to be 4. Now that's 4. Now when I jump back to this, finish sketch, there we go. Now that's like super thin, super cool. And you can create relationships between all the stuff so that as you build one piece, the other pieces will link up. So you see that I changed the dimension of this, which also changed the dimension of this. Okay. So this is how we start our stuff. I'm going to make a new design, and these are all stuff that are saved in the cloud. So if I go to a new computer, load Fusion, these will all come with me. I'm going to go in, create a sketch first. So I'm going to go to Create Sketch. It wants to know which dimension I want to go, so I'm going to go with the top view here. And then I start to create curves, and everything is based off of these curves, and you create those, and then you can make a bunch of surfaces. So this is a corner curve, so I click one corner, click the other. You can go down here and grab a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm actually going to use the center rectangle and pull this out. Okay, I'm going to hit enter and just let it create its thing. You'll see these little slashes and different things there. Those are all constraints that are kind of locking the shape in there. I'm going to hit D for dimension. I'm going to click on this, drag it up, and click, and then I'm going to type in the dimension. So let's say this is 150 here. Yes. And let's say this one is 80 there. Okay, so right away, boom, I have this size of what this thing is going to be. I'm going to come back to this and do some more work, but first I'm going to say Finish Sketch, and then I'm going to Shift middle click and drag. There we go. And now I'm going to create a surface off of this. So if I right click and go to Press and Pull, I can just click and drag and make this as tall as I want. And there's the size right there. So how tall do I want this to be? Let's say 10 millimeters, which is 1 centimeter. So now I've created just this cube inside here. Let's say that I wanted to cut out the middle of this. I'm going to jump back to my sketch so I can go over here on the side where it says Sketches, go to Sketch 1, and there it is. So I'm back to that sketch. All of your tools, if you hit S, you can just type in whatever and it'll pull something up. So I'm going to offset my curve. I click on the curve. There's the offset. I just punch in what number I want. I'm going to hit Okie doke. Now I can say Finish Sketch. I'm going to turn my sketch back on so I can see it. I'm going to go to Bodies. That's essentially what we're creating are called bodies. I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to go back to Press and Pull. And then depending on what I click, I can press and pull just that. Okay, or I can press and pull this and have, a different shape right there. So I'm going to grab, come on, press and pull, yes, this, and that. And then I just hit Okie doke. Okay, this is a different shape, by the way. I'm just creating some basic stuff right now. So then I'm going to jump back to my sketch. I'm going to hit S. I'm going to go to Fillet. And then I'm going to click on this corner, click on this corner. Come on. Let me undo that. Let me try that again. Fillet. Click, click, click. There we go. There we go. And now all those are tied together so that as I start to tweak them, it's adjusting all of those. Now I am getting an issue with my offset, so I'm going to hit undo. I'm going to delete this offset curve. And then I'm going to put my fillet in. This, that. There we go. And again, I could type in the number there, 5, whatever. And then I can go ahead and do my offset. I'm going to double click this edge, or just marquee it all. Come on. Chain selection, there we go. And now I can push this outward. And then hit OK. So you see how easily it is just to start editing your items. I'll delete the body again. Shift drag, right click, press and pull, click that. There we go. Okay, now let's say that I wanted to pull a piece off of this. I'm going to right click on this, go to sketch. Let me hit OK first. There we go. I'm going to grab this face, right click, go to sketch, circle. It jumps you into the side view, so I'm just looking at that face. And then if I were to draw a circle here and make this, let's say 5 millimeters, there it is. And then I say finish sketch, I shift drag, there's a sketch. Then I can do another press and pull, click on this, and then pull that out. So now that's actually just like hanging out there, attached to that surface. However big I want this to be, let's say 50. There we go. I'm going to create something different here. Let's go to create another sketch. I'm going to do this in the top view again. I'm going to create a center rectangle from here out like that, and I'm going to add some dimensions to this just to lock it in. You don't need to add the dimensions, which is one of the reasons I like this software. There's some other ones where you can't move to the next step unless you've added dimensions to it, which is kind of troublesome if you just want to start playing with stuff. All right, that's good there. I'm going to do a fillet on this. This, that. Where'd my fillet go? S, fillet. No, to click my edges first. There we go. Okay, 5. Let's set this to 2. That's better. And I'm just double checking to make sure they all went. Yes. Okay, so now I'll do an offset. Click on that. Let's do 2 there also. And we'll finish the sketch, and then we'll jump back. So now I'm going to grab this surface here, and then press and pull. Now watch as it gets to this. I can either set this operation to be a cut, a join, or an intersect where it would keep that. I'm not sure why I would want that for this one. I could even make it a new object, but I'm going to do this as a join, and it'll actually combine those two shapes. So this is kind of like, you know, what the booleans would do, but it's doing it on its own. Now, if I don't know the dimensions of how big this one is, I can jump back to where these things are. So there's extrude 4, which is what that one is. I'm going to hit OK here. Then I'm going to double click extrude 4, and then there's the size, 50 millimeters. I hit OK. I jump back to this one. That's definitely not 50 millimeters, right? Because that would be that big. Oh, that's 50 millimeters. I went to, okay, that was 10. Yep, so that's good. So now that's also 10. And then I can go in here. I think I can do a trim. That's just for geometry. I can trim geometry. There we go. No visible surfaces. All right, I didn't do something right there. That's fine. I'm just going to jump back to my sketch, which is over here, sketch number 3. I'm going to click on this. Now this is the part that's kind of tricky to do, is just moving stuff. You have to actually go to like a move button, click on the curve, and then you get this, and then you can move it. Now because everything is linked, everything should go with it. All right, so I need this to be, let's say, 6, I think would be good. Yes. That should be good. Okay, so I finished my sketch. Everything is still there. Okay, so not incredibly quickly, but definitely a different process for how we're building things inside here. And you can create some very cool free-form shapes. So I'm going to open this one up so we can see it. So all of this was created that same way, just creating circles in different spots and then being able to draw those circles on the surface and extrude them down or press and pull them down. Doing things like this, where I have these bars right here, and you can see there's even fillets on all of these. And fillets are like no big deal for any of this. Same thing here, same thing back there. This is all just the same kind of thing. Here's a speaker holder. Oops, let me open this up. Let me hide body 2, I think it is. So this one here is another piece. Screw holes are in the back. This would hold a speaker, and then there would be a button on this side. But it's done the same exact way. It's just using different shapes like squares, circles, using the press and pull. And again, if I go back to the sketches here, there's my original sketch. You can see the dimensions I have. You can use just straight lines. You can use rectangles. You can use circles. Here's the diameter of all these things. There's the dip that's right there. As I go to a different sketch, so finish. Here's another sketch for how big that opening is going to be. Finish this one. Go to another sketch. There's the inside diameter. Finish sketch. Okay, and actually I can just turn these on so we can see where they're, oops. So anytime I had any kind of like cutout I'm doing, I'm just drawing a little sketch on that side, and then I can press and pull it to create those. And then if I wanted things like bevels or fillets, I can hit S again, and then it's already right here, but I can type in fillet. Oops. And make sure it's the surface, not the curve. And then if I go to this one and that one, and drag that in, you can see how I can make that fillet. And if I grab more than that, I can go to this one. Oops, let me go back to the fillet. And you can see if I can grab just the edges, not just the faces. Now, if I was to try to do this inside of Maya, definitely it would work, but I would be playing around a whole lot trying to get this to be perfect the way that is. And being editable, to be able to go back to that shape at any point and tweak any of that would be very tricky. If this diameter here isn't big enough, I can make it bigger or smaller or whatever just by going into that sketch and then redoing that piece. Where's the one that I was working on before? Foam core holder. All right, so let me show you the one that I redid for this one. Base Canon, last updated. Mold holder, there we go. So this is the mold holder I built using this one. You'll see it's a very similar design that I had from the Maya one. Except this one, I have these little cutouts on here so that if I go to the bodies area and I turn these off, you'll see that that has just a very nice cutout from there. You know, a little bit different. I didn't have to do the same kind of stuff. All of this was derived off of that original sketch that I did. If I jump back to the sketches, I jump back to this one sketch. You can see how I divided this shape into this little cut line. And then anywhere there's a cut, you can just cut things out. If I wanted to have, let's go here, let's go there, let's go with this, and create sketch. I drew a circle, and then another circle, and then another circle, and then another circle. These are at random spots, obviously. But now I can just grab these, go to press and pull, this. Now I could pull them out, and that will do that, or I can push them inward. And if I push them in, it automatically knows to cut them out. So, go, and I'll say OK. And so now there's holes right inside that. Again, doing something like that inside Maya would not be an easy task. It would be like incredibly difficult to do, especially how nicely this would flow. So we're going to pretend that we've modeled something fully inside here. We're ready to send this off. Now this one does have, as long as I go to the right spot, 3D print. What do you want to 3D print? This whole mess. Print utility. So I'm not sure why Print Studio is listed here, not there. Whatever. I'm going to say preview the mesh first. So all of these are actual NURBS surfaces, the things we didn't really use inside of Maya. But it allows us to see what it's going to look like as a polygon, which is how it's going to cut out. So here's all the pieces. I'm not laying them out inside here. Typically, I would, bring this into Maya and lay it out there. But pretending that this is all going to print like this. So I can say high refinement, low refinement, custom if I want to play with that. Typically something like this, I want to keep this nice and smooth. I would do high, or I can come into here and play with the numbers. And then I would say send to Print Studio. And then what this should do is it should open up inside of Autodesk Print Studio, just like Maya should have done. I'll say center this, so it goes to the move surface, or the build surface. I'll remember that I'm not in that software anymore, and I'll try to remember my hotkeys. There we go. There's that. Still getting an error. I'm not sure what that is. Move to build surface. That's fine. Auto layout. Nope. Yeah, I don't know what that specific one is. Let me go to the repair area and see what it says. Non-manifold vertices, every error must be repaired before printing. Auto repair. There we go. So whatever the issue was, it just fixed it. There we go. And then I would just do the same thing here. The size already comes in right. So you can see I didn't have to resize this up. If I go to my import, nope, my layout, go to measure, nope, scale, wrong button. 84 by 65 by 54, those are the correct dimensions that I set up this specific one to be at. Okay, and then I can go to File, Export Selected, do the same process. You can also do sending. Oh, I guess I don't have that part set up yet. In some softwares, you can actually export these out, and you can use different 3D printing services that will print your stuff for you, not only in like plastic, but in other materials. Oops, not mine. There we go. Shapeways is the one I couldn't think of. So this one, you can actually send it in, and they'll like 3D print it as metal. You can pick different materials to print your stuff on. They'll give you a price, obviously, before they print it. But it's pretty sweet. You can design 3D models. You could upload different ones that you built, or you can pick ones that they have. So there's steel, plastic, TPU, PA11, Acura, which is this see-through stuff, that one, and that one. And then here's professional ones, copper, platinum, gold, silver. There's some people on Facebook who have printed their stuff up, and it's amazing like what they get. These ones will actually print in color, so you can actually have a 3D model that you've colored and send that over there. I've never done that. Notice the dollar sign, so the more dollar signs, obviously the more expensive it is. So that's $2 signs. That's still going to be pretty expensive, so I can't imagine what this other one is here. Carbon fiber. Sweet. So we're printing in just basic boring plastic. We have PLA plastic, which I'm assuming it's this kind. Or that one. Oh, that's the cheapest one. Yeah, I think that's the same one. Okay, so you can use Maya for it. You can use Fusion if you want to play around with this. It does have some cool stuff. There are a bunch of, obviously I don't know everything about Fusion, but there are some really cool things that you can do with it outside of my 21-minute video here. You know, looking at some of these, you can see how simple some of these models are, just building these up from the ground up. Like this one started, I believe, as a circle, and then they were able to cut away different parts of it to create all of these different shapes. You know, same thing there, same thing here. This is more freeform modeling, so this is actually like polygon modeling inside of Fusion. What was the one that was really cool? I think it was a lampshade, yeah. So like this one here, they use this circle or this shape to build this, and they cut away all these different pieces. It's pretty sweet. And there's also a Arduino. And this guy built this Arduino holder in Fusion. And again, like those lines would be very difficult to do right inside Maya. Again, nice and smooth, beveled. There, it's no big deal. I actually have a little playing around, screwing around type thing like that. There's my Hodor doorstop. Trying to do this inside of Maya to get it, you know, the text to look as nice as it does there would be very difficult to do. This is a dice holder, so having the word dice cut out of here, having these perfectly sized so that 40 dice will fit in this side, 40 dice will fit in that side. The caps will fit on either side, so it's nice and neat. This is a transparent one. This is a silly cannon. And this is actually like rendered inside here. You can do, I think I have this set up, yeah. So you can do like different renderings and different views of this if you're trying to visualize it and you don't have a rendering software. But that ball going into this shape, going in with these bevels, impossible in Maya to get it nice and smooth as quickly as I was here. Literally a shape, fill it, and it works. The holes here, the holes there. Very easy to do inside of this software compared to, again, something like Maya. Not that Maya's not great, but there's some things that other softwares will just do a lot better. Cool. Questions on that yet? Yes, sir.
I think you mentioned in previous class, but when do you plan to have the due date for this one?
Next week. Next Saturday, if you have these done, then that should give me plenty of time to get them 3D printed. If they're each one, like each 4-inch by 4-inch by 4-inch, if it's a head like this, takes about 3.5 hours. So this head took 3.5 hours, so if you multiply it times how many people are in here, it's a long time. If I can fit multiple ones on the rack, then I can print more, and I can just leave it for the weekend or something. So usually I try to cluster them so we have multiple ones that are going at the same time. Cool. Questions?